How do you install a garage heater? Today we're going to talk about installing a utility heater or garage heater like these two garage heaters. I'm going to talk about wire sizing and show you how to wire this type of heater up. And we're going to talk about how much it costs. I'm going to show you how much it costs to operate these garage heaters. You're watching Taddy Digest. I'm Tad. This is HVAC tips for homeowners / technicians. Let's get started. So we got the two garage heaters flipped upside down, and if you take the bottom panel off for each heater, you can access the electrical connections. The first heater we're looking at is Bilt Hard. I like that name, that's cool. So if you take that panel off, you got 10 Phillips screws. Use your drill, use your Phillips screwdriver. You can see these connections here. This is where our power comes in, and our knockouts are right here. So we got 240 volt single phase power, then we got our ground terminal, and then we've got our board right here. And our board is what is taking care of powering the two elements inside. We've got a limit switch, which is a safety. And then we've got an ambient air sensor, and it looks like another heat temperature sensor. So that's nice. I like it. I like the fact that we got a nice block to wire everything up. And if you take the panel and you flip it upside down, look at this right here. It says 7,500 watt, 240 volt, 31.3 amps. Max fuse size is 50. So we need a 50 amp double pole breaker, and then we need to use a number 8 wire. So that's nice. Make sure that you use the proper wire size, which is going to be 8-2, and make sure you use the proper breaker, 50 amp double pole breaker. These are our knockouts, 1/2 inch and 3/4. I'll probably use the 3/4 knockout. That way I have plenty of room. And you can see that if this heater is up above me, then I'm going to be able to see those terminals pretty easily. But you need to take off that bottom panel, that way you can actually get to them. So this is the turbo heater, and if we take the panel off, we can see turbo garage heater. Looks like we've got a QR code, and it says it's a smart heater. So it's 10 kilowatt, 10,000 watt. Both of these manufacturers, Bilt Hard, or these brands, Bilt Hard and Turbo, they both have several different sizes of garage heaters. I think Bilt Hard has 5,000, 7,500, 10,000, probably some other sizes. Turbo has got, I think, a 7,500, 10,000. We've got our L1 and L2, and then we've got our ground, and then looks like we've got two boards here. Looks like we got a limit switch, and we've got some sensor wires. So these boards, and this looks like this one's got 3 elements. And then we've got, looks like a capacitor for our fan motor. These boards are handling not only the power to the elements, but they're handling the power to the motors, because there's a fan motor that blows the air across the elements. Now that you've seen the electrical connections, I'm going to show you some different wiring so that we can talk about wire sizing. Glad that both of the garage heaters come with a manual. And in the first page of each manual, you can see for the Bilt Hard, says right here, recommended wire size 8 AUG, copper only, and then circuit breaker 40 amps or larger. So that's nice. Now, if we look at the Turbo and we open it up to the second page, you'll see right here it says circuit breaker 60 amp, wire size 6 AUG, copper only. Now, if we look at the wire sizes here, this is 12-2, right? That's only for 20 amps, so that's not going to work. Then we got this orange wire, which is Romex wire, and this is number 10. This is rated for 30 amps. Then we got these two black wires that look the same, but they're not. This is 8-2 wire. So this wire will work for the Bilt Hard. And then we've got a 40 amp breaker to go with it, double pole. Then we come to this last wire, and it's 6-2. So this is 6-2 wire, and this will work for the turbo heater, and then we've got a 60 amp breaker for that. Now if you take a look, the one on the right is the number 12-2, and then you've got the orange, which was 10-2, then we've got our 8-2, and then our 6-2, which is our biggest wire. So make sure you know your wire sizes. If you're a level 1 member at least, and you've got my email, then I'll send you my wiring guide if you need it. Just request through email. This is the hanger that comes with the Bilt Hard garage heater. We're gonna mount it right here for testing purposes. And how are we gonna mount it? We're gonna use these lag bolts or lag screws that come in a package with the knob screws that hold this bracket to the actual heater. So I'm gonna get a drill. I'm gonna mount this right here with those 3 lag bolts. We're gonna use these washers with the 3 lag bolts. Let's go. We've got 2 of these large knob screws and we got 2 of the small knob screws. And the larger knob screw is gonna go right here. And then depending on how you want the angle of the heater is gonna depend on which one of these you choose. I'm gonna choose this one right here. Let's go ahead and hang it up on the bracket. Look what I can do. Whee! Without the other 2 knob screws in. Just thought I'd have some fun. Be careful, don't do that. I'm gonna go ahead and put the other 2 knob screws in. That way I have the position of the heater where I want it. And now that we've got it where we want it, I'm gonna go ahead and wire it up. Now we're gonna install our 3/4 connector. Take out the knockout. You may need a flathead screwdriver or a hammer and a flathead to take that knockout out. There's our connector. It's in place. Now let's get our wire. Here's the wiring, L1 and L2, and then loosen up the ground screw to install the ground wire. Now let's turn on the breaker. Now this is just temporary. You never want to wire it up like this. You want to actually go through a knockout and use a connector. You might need conduit, check your local codes. This right here is the breaker, 40 amp. We got L1, L2, and then ground. Let's turn it on. Now let's turn it on. We can turn it on using this display right here and these buttons, or we can use the remote. So if I take and push the power button, looks like it went to high speed. I can set my temperature. I'm gonna turn it up to 85, and I am going to make sure it reads in Fahrenheit. But you can change it to Celsius. It's 64 in here. We've got it on high. Now, let's see how much it costs to operate this on high speed. Now, using our meter, we're gonna set the dial to volts AC, and we're gonna check between L1 and L2. It says 234 volts. Then we're gonna check amps by taking our clamp around one of the wires that goes to the heater. Right now, it's drawing 29 amps. So remember that, 234 volts and 29 amps. Now, let's do a calculation and see how much it costs for this to run 24 hours a day. 234 volts times by 29 amps equals 6,786 watts, divided by 1,000 to get kilowatts, and then 6.7 times what we're charged here, which is around 10 cents per kilowatt, and then times that by 24 hours. So it would cost us $16 a day to run this heater if it ran for 24 hours. Times that by 30 to get the monthly cost, $488, and then times that by 12 to get the yearly cost. Yearly, we're gonna spend about $5,863 if it runs 24/7. Measuring with the dual induct psychrometer, this is blowing out some warm air. Hot air, look at that, 140, 150, oh, and OL. So it is definitely cooking. Good product. Bilt Hard also makes patio heaters, and they sent me this. I finished putting it together. Really cool. Thank you, Bilt Hard. Go check out their website. Link in the description and link right here. This is the exact patio heater that I got, just in case you're wondering. That's the BTU and everything. Here is the box that the Bilt Hard electric garage heater arrived in, and I did put the bottom panel back on. Now, let's move to turbo. Now we're gonna mount the turbo garage heater, and we've got expansion bolts that come with this heater, and we've got lag bolts. So if you wanna use a concrete surface to mount the bracket, you can use expansion bolts or a brick surface. If you wanna use the wood surface, you use your lag screws or lag bolts. Also, I noticed that the bracket is curved, and maybe that's because you could actually mount a stud in between this bracket. So say you're mounting these heaters on a ceiling, and then your stud would go right here in between the bracket. We're just gonna take it and mount it right here. Let's go ahead and mount it. Now we're gonna use our 1-inch connector. So we're gonna knock out that knockout, and then we're gonna put our connector in place of that knockout. Got it in place. Now we're gonna flip this upside down here. And notice that for this heater, the knob screws are actually in place. So we need to take both of those off on each side. That way we can mount it. All right, we're gonna take and put the knob screws in place. One on that side and one on this side. Now we've got our wires landed on the terminals, L1, L2, and then we've got our ground wire right around this screw here. Now let's go check the breaker size. Got number 6 wire we're using. We got the ground on the ground terminal, and then we've got our L1 and L2 on our double pole 60 amp breaker. Let's turn it on. You can see that there's different ways of hanging the heater. You can hang the heater horizontally or vertically, like this right here. You need to make sure you read the manual so you know the different minimum distances between the heater and the walls. You need to make sure that it's not in a high traffic area. It definitely wouldn't need to be right here where somebody could walk past it and maybe stick their finger in it or something like that. So make sure you read the manual. Let's go ahead and turn this on. We can use this little display right here and these controls. We can use the remote, or you see there's a Wi-Fi button. You can actually use your phone and you can connect with Wi-Fi. So let's turn it on and let's turn up the temperature, 85, and then fan's already blowing. Let's let it heat up and let's see how much it costs. Turn your meter to volts AC. Let's measure L1 and L2. What's it say? 231. Now let's check our amperage around one of the legs of the power. It's 40 amps. So 231 volts, 40 amps. Let's see how much it costs. 231 volts times 40 amps gives us 9,240 watts divided by 1,000 to give us kilowatts, 9.24. Times that by the amount that we're charged per kilowatt, which is 10 cents. And then times that by 24 hours. That's $22 per day. Times that by 30 days. That is $665 a month if it ran 24 hours. And then times that by 12. That is about $7,983 a year. Now let's measure the temperature. Looks like we're at, oh yeah, well over 150 degrees, about right here. Super hot. It works well. I like it. Thanks Turbro for sending me the garage heater to review. If you guys need a garage heater, go check out turbro.com. I'll put the link right here and I'll put the link in the description. Turbro has other cool products like this electric fireplace. I got this too, put it together, really nice, and they were generous enough to give us a discount. So if you want a 10% discount, you can use discount code TADDYDIGEST at www.turbro.com. Really cool product. If you need a garage heater, go check out both of these brands. The links for those brands and their websites and their products is in the description. And if you're curious as to what size you need based off of your square footage, I'm pretty sure that both of these websites, if you go to check out the heater, there will be a list of the different size of the heaters and the square footage. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and smash that bell, ding, so you know what I'm doing. If you want more videos like this and you're a homeowner, go check out my playlist titled HVAC Tips for Homeowners. If you're a technician and you want more videos on the technical side, go check out my playlist titled HVAC Tips for Technicians. If you've got a question, remember, questions can lead to new content. So put your questions down below in the comments, but if you don't have a question, that's okay. Let me know who you are and let me know where you're from. You've been watching Taddy Digest. I'm Tad, and I'll keep you cool if you let me.